So I guess while I'm waiting for another question, I can talk about some other good stuff. I got some notes here this time. So one of the big things that I always talk about in the office as far as patients, like what should be tested, what should be looked at, is vitamin D. And it still surprises me that people will get blood work, which they pay a lot of money for every year. And you may not think you don't pay a lot of money for it, but if all you ever do is go to your doctor once a year and get blood work done, you paid as much as money as your yearly premium was for that blood work. So in my opinion, you paid way too much then, and you should be getting lots and lots and lots of things looked at if you're going to be paying that insane amount of money for that. But vitamin D is absolutely critical. It's actually responsible for 1,000 different genes inside of your body, which is a lot, of course, whether it's turning the healthy ones on or turning the unhealthy ones off, like things like related to cancer, Alzheimer's, dementia, and whatnot. So I really recommend that you get that tested. I mean, minimum once a year, but ideally it would be 6 months a year, and it would be good to test in the middle of summer and then also the middle of winter. So especially in the middle of winter, you can be surprised at how far your vitamin D can go down just by January, even if you're still taking like 5,000 or even 10,000 IUs per day. So, and remember, the big thing with vitamin D is you take it in the morning and with fat, because it's it's fat soluble. So it's going to be moderating immune function, inflammation. It's crazy that you got to know your vitamin D. I mean, I ask people all the time, they always know what their cholesterol levels are. You probably could tell me that in a heartbeat, but the number one level you should be able to tell me is your vitamin D level. So again, let me just talk generally about weight loss there too. It's a good question. When we're talking about weight loss, right, so the big thing we have to look at is, what would be the cause of why there would be excess weight on the body anyways. I mean, obviously we're looking at nutrition, but another big one that really gets missed is toxicity, whether it's heavy metal toxicity. Hey, what's up, Jason? Sorry, I got distracted there. Toxicity, like heavy metals, whether it's lead or mercury, those things cause a lot of what's called cytokine inflammation in the body, which will block leptin. And leptin is the hormone that your brain will hear in regards to burning fat. It's actually produced by your fat cells, so when you get an accumulation of too many fat cells, you'll be producing more leptin. So in the case of a healthy level of exercise and a proper nutrition regimen, your brain will hear this message of leptin and then therefore appropriately burn the fat cells that are needed, for energy. But beyond that, when there's too much of that, and then again you get the heavy metals in there, it begins to tune out those messages, so you could be spinning your wheels. The other thing too is that other people are going to have different kind of metabolic shifting that's happening inside their body. So the people that lose a large amount of weight in a short amount of time, I mean, a lot of it's just kind of flushing and dumping fluid out, which is great, because if it's excess fluid and not needed, that scenario, it's probably not your case, and if you've only lost 1 pound, but you just may have more of an insulin issue in your body, which just might mean that it might take more like 2 weeks for you to see results. So typically to shift into fat burning, it takes 10 to 14 days. So even those people that have lost 5 to 7 pounds or even more, they're probably not dumping a ton of fat or burning a ton of fat yet. It's probably going to be more, like I said, just kind of fluid and whatnot. It takes about 10 to 14 days to really start tapping into the fat burning process. But the other thing is, I'm going to talk about it tomorrow night at the workshop too, is that there's really like going at something like a 10 out of 10, a 10, a 100% effort. And then there's also an idea of going at it at 150% effort, meaning if you think that if you've been exercising 3 times a week and you haven't lost weight and you feel like you should have, then go 6 days a week. And if that's not working, then why not do twice a day? I mean, there's a whole book on this by Grant Cardone called Going 10 Times, And what it talks about is that you just go 10 times at one area, one subject, and that's how you get results. So, um, I've known people that have exercised twice a day, morning and evening, to, just get in the shape of their lives. I mean, that's how an Olympian does it. That's how any professional athlete does. They'll do two training sessions a day and eat healthy in between. So I know it's very general, but you can email me more specifics if you feel like you're struggling in certain areas. The session will be recorded tomorrow night. It's going to be crappy quality because it'll be on my iPhone and you won't get as much out of it, but if you can't make it, you'll be able to still get some of it. Go kill it, Jason. Jason is the one of the founding members and the drummer for a Christian music band, 10th Avenue North. So we adjust them whenever they come in town, and they're pretty awesome. If you've never checked out their music, 10th Avenue North. He's one of the few famous people that I know, or what I'd be considered to be famous. All right. Keep the questions coming. If not, I got something else here. I'll wait a minute and then I'll go into some cancer-killing foods. But I'd rather answer your questions first. So I've been getting this question a lot lately from people that are diabetics regarding sugar going too low. And part of it is your body is just not used to producing insulin on its own. So if it goes below like 80 or 70, that would be a good time, even if it's outside of your intermittent fasting window, to have like an apple or something like a Granny Smith apple, just to get your body's sugar up. And or a banana if you really need to get it up fast, if it's really tanking. I mean, really, like if you're functional, even in the 60 to 80 range, it's fine. But don't go below 60, or as you might get have a little bit trouble concentrating and focusing with that. And if you're taking the same level of diabetes medication, you've really made large nutritional changes lately, and you notice your sugar really tanking, then you know that you need to be cutting back on your diabetes medication. So I can't legally say that. So, but if I was someone who had diabetes and my sugar was going down, what I would be doing is reducing my dosages of diabetes medication and just keeping monitoring it several times a day for sure. Seminar tomorrow is going to be just for people doing the challenge, actually. So unless they want to join the challenge, they could jump on at that point. Okay, so cancer-killing foods. Thank you. Cancer-killing foods. Here's some things that you could really incorporate into I would say a daily basis. So green tea is one of them. Broccoli, especially raw, so any kind of raw cruciferous vegetable, so like broccoli, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, bok choy, cauliflower, if I didn't say that. So if you can really shoot for trying to get 5 raw servings of that every single week, that is really beneficial, especially for women, in helping to metabolize excess estrogen. So one of the main causes of breast and ovarian and uterine cancer is too much toxic estrogen in the body. And so consuming raw servings of broccoli, cabbage, and cauliflower, it's fine cooked too, but it's just more effective when it's raw, will help to metabolize that. So, because there's something in there called DIM, and that is really effective at balancing hormones. So I would be having those not only as a woman, but I mean men too, but really as a woman, be getting 5 servings minimum per week. Organic cacao, which is kind of like like you can kind of think of chocolate with that. We put that in our smoothies. My wife and I put that in our smoothies a lot. Tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of antioxidants in there. So it's going to be killing free radicals, which free radicals cause DNA and genetic damage, which cause mutations, which of course leads to cancer when there's too many mutated cells in your body. Turmeric, or the active form or the active ingredient in turmeric, which is called curcumin. Those have been shown to be tumor killers. So eating turmeric every single day is awesome. So you can do it in turmeric tea. I supplement with it. I'll put it in my juices, as much as I can. It's super good for you, super healthy. Be doing it every single day. So another one is flax seeds. So these in particular have been found to be very helpful for prevention of prostate and breast cancer. So flax seeds, so again, you can put those in smoothies, which are great, or put them in an almond flour muffin or something like that. So there's just a couple really good, easy to take, not like crazy, insane, like random foods, but really things you could incorporate on a daily and especially a weekly basis. Keep on coming with the questions. I should have some Jeopardy music. It's really awkward for me when there's no questions, by the way, so please ask questions. All right, so let's go over some specifics then, since there's no questions for healthy skin. So here's some, if you're really suffering with unhealthy skin, here are the things that I would be looking at as far as a supplement regimen, or just making sure you're getting it from food. So I'm going to go pretty fast, and know that this recording will be saved, so you can go back and listen to it if you need to. So if you don't want to write it all down and just listen, just remember that it's at about 18 minutes that I started talking about this. So vitamin A. This is going to show up if you have a deficiency, if you have particularly rough and dry skin, and then you get the little bumps on the back of your arms specifically. So that's a vitamin A deficiency. So foods that are going to be high in vitamin A would be things like egg yolks. Cod liver oil is another one too. So it's really important for people to be taking cod liver oil, or just liver and organ meats in general. A little bit kind of gross, but egg yolks is something you could do for sure every single day. Zinc is another one. So people that have a lot of acne are definitely zinc deficient. So, and that's really easy to take too. So animal sources, animal protein is going to be high in zinc, particularly beef and lamb. But I supplement with zinc because it's just really, really important for the immune system too. Vitamin C. So one of the ways to test your vitamin C, that's not super scientific, but it does work, is to do something called a collagen skin test. So what you'll do is, and I'll see if I can get it here. If you lay your hand flat on the on a surface just like this, what you'll do is pinch the skin in between your middle and second knuckle. Okay, so I can't do it. So you pinch the skin right here, and then you pull it up as far as you can, just like this, okay? And then your hand has to be on a flat surface, and you basically look and see how fast your skin kind of flattens out. For a lot of people, it'll kind of stay elevated and raised for a while. That means you're super low on vitamin deficiency. Your collagen stinks. That's why you would have more wrinkles than you should. On the inside, it means your arteries of your body are going to be just trashed, your capillaries and everything. So super important. Vitamin C is responsible and helpful for that. So I do 2,000 to 4,000. I shoot for, and I sometimes forget, but 2,000 to 4,000 milligrams of vitamin C every single day. So bell peppers are going to be a good source of vitamin C, dark leafy greens, broccoli, of course citrus, lemon, lime, things like that, and then strawberries too. So biotin is another one. So if you have dandruff or especially a dry scalp, that's going to be low in biotin. Again, foods that are going to be rich in biotin would be egg yolks, Swiss chard, romaine lettuce, almonds, and walnuts. And then the last one is, actually, sorry, not the last one, but the next one is sulfur. Sulfur is super important because it also goes along the lines with the collagen factor there. It also is what your body uses to make glutathione, and glutathione is your #1 detoxification agent. So foods that are high in sulfur are going to be garlic, onions, Brussels sprouts, asparagus, and kale. Next thing is niacin, which is vitamin B3. It's super important for the skin, so that also, again, is important for just, having healthy kind of that glow, so to speak. Vitamin B3 is also really a big one to take on a regular basis too, because it breaks down carbs, fats, and protein too efficiently, so your body can just break it down and convert it to energy very easily. Vitamin K2 is the next one. So that's another wrinkle one. If you have premature wrinkling or excessive wrinkling, that's a vitamin K2 deficiency, which leads to because it's needed to provide and build elastin. So you think elastin, elasticity, kind of stretchiness. If your skin can stretch well, of course, it's not going to get wrinkles and get that in your skin. Vitamin E is another one. Most people are aware of that, and there's a lot of personal care products that have vitamin E in it that you just rub directly on your skin. So you get that from spinach, turnips, chard, and basically any other cruciferous vegetables. And again, that's also a fat-soluble vitamin, so you'd want to eat, put some butter on your spinach or turnips or whatever too, to make sure you're getting the most absorption out of there. Vitamin B5, pantothenic acid, egg yolks, broccoli, sweet potatoes, avocados, selenium. What I love, selenium's huge. It's good for the thyroid. It's good for testosterone, for estrogen, keeping that balance there. It's also a skin cancer protectant. So if you are out in the sun a lot, or have easy, you get burned easily, then you're going to want to make sure you're taking selenium, which also goes good with iodine. So Brazil nuts for that. That's the best source by far, #1. You can take 2 Brazil nuts every single night. Huge if you're a guy, it'll help your testosterone a lot. If you're a female, it'll help your hormones be balanced. So Brazil nuts, but also you're going to find in salmon, beef, turkey, and lamb. All right, that should have killed some time. So questions. Any questions on intermittent fasting, bulletproof coffee, supplements, chiropractic, nutrition, cancer, heart disease, why cholesterol drugs are dumb? Can you have bulletproof coffee after the fasting window is closed? Um, this is kind of a tricky question because there's a lot of people doing my boot camp right now, so I don't want to. I want to be very clear. So, normally, it's better actually before the window. It's not as good afterwards. It's better before the window. Talk about forgiveness, the F word, my favorite F word, forgiveness. Remember, forgiveness is about setting someone free and finding out that it is you. There's actually been some really interesting research on just harboring hate or hostility or grudges against people, and actually it causes brain degeneration and causes your DNA to shrink, which means you age faster. So not forgiving people, not forgiving yourself actually causes you to age faster and literally die faster. So if you have a forgiveness issue, you can privately message me and I will send you some really good audio resources that will I have really helped me, and I think it'll help anybody else too that listens to it. It's a free resource. It's just a podcast. So another key thing for weight loss in regard to fruit is that super important that you want to stick to under 25 grams of fructose every single day. More than that, and you're really going to be in trouble with storing fat. So your body has processes fructose different than it does sugar. So if you eat too much fruit, it's going to just cause really bad weight gain. So sticking to things like raspberries and blackberries and strawberries, the berries are going to keep you pretty easily under that. But bananas will get you over there pretty quickly. Apples too, actually red apples will get you over that content very fast. If your triglycerides are over 100, if you look at your old blood work, if your triglycerides are over 100, you know you eat way too much fruit, and if you're wondering why you can't lose weight, well then that's probably why, or one of the reasons why anyways. So you want your triglycerides under 100, otherwise you're having too much fruit because it'll get converted in your liver into triglycerides. Yeah, Joanne. So if you notice in the boot camp, I'm not having people do it yet, but you will eventually. So but I would not right now because we want to keep the fasting window to a strict 8 hours for the time being. So people doing the challenge, bulletproof coffee not before your window. Do not do it yet. Do not do it until it shows in the challenge. If you do it now, I promise you it will affect your results. You can do it during your window though. So let's talk about butter. Butter is something that you need to be consuming every single day. You need to be consuming every single day because it has a large amount of butyrate in there. And what's great about butyrate is that it actually feeds the healthy bacteria inside of your digestive system. There was a really cool study that was done where mice were fed butyrate, and after just a couple weeks of being fed this butyrate, which again, very high amounts are found in butter, their cholesterol went down by 25%, their triglycerides went down, their insulin sensitivity went up by 300%. So when you're talking about not being able to lose weight, a lot of it comes because you are not insulin sensitive. So eating butter makes your body more insulin sensitive, which means it's more easily and readily burns fat. So it also protects your gut lining, and it's going to kick me off here in a second, so I'm going to have to start again with part 2. So just some updates on some of these people doing the challenges. We're 1 week in now, not even, we're finishing up the 7 days, the first 7 days. One person has lost 4 pounds and having regular bowel movements. Another person has lost 7 pounds. Another person who's a diabetic, her blood sugar levels have been much better. Her energy and cravings have been under control. She's had weight loss, but she hasn't weighed herself yet. Another person's puffy skin is going away. People are noticing her face that she's lost weight. She's lost 7 pounds, and she wasn't tempted by M&Ms, which is awesome. Another person, so 4 days in, she lost 5 pounds, 1 BMI point, 1.2% body fat. Energy is good. Another lady is she's been a diabetic for like 10 years. Her blood sugar was 95, which is awesome. Another person lost 7.5 pounds, and that was 6 days in. So, challenge, I love it. If you didn't do the challenge in the boot camp, next time it comes around, you may want to reconsider. Questions? We'll do like another 15 minutes, 10-15 minutes here before we call it a night. One thing for the bulletproof coffee too that I'll add, I've been doing some more research on it. If you really feel like you have a ton of weight to lose, you'd want to actually throw some protein in there, just a little bit, like 10-20 grams. You can do like the protein powder. So if you really want to lose, like you need to lose a lot more weight, then you would put some protein powder in there. Questions, just a few of you on, so. No, not Diane, not until it's designated in the challenge. What about ketosis? Give me a specific question on that, and I will do my best to answer it. For those of you who don't know what ketosis is, it's a metabolic process in your body that will, instead of burning sugar as a primary source of energy, your body will actually burn fat cells for that, or fat for energy. It's really hard to get into ketosis. and it's not really recommended to do more than 3 to 6 months worth, but in the short run it can be super beneficial for burning fat, losing body fat percentage, rebooting your hormones. um, so how long does it take to get into ketosis? It can take up to 2 weeks, and that's making sure that your numbers are right where they need to be too. So like I know when I calculated mine, I need to be doing well over 300 grams of fat per day, less than 20 net carbs, and like 100 grams of protein. So I was maybe on a good day doing 150 grams, so I had to double and be over that as my minimum number at 300 to even get into ketosis. So it's not that easy to go to just to double your fat, especially when you're already doing 150 grams. So I'm having to kind of work my way up to it. But the true answer is, for everybody's going to be different as far as how long it takes them to get into it. But 2 weeks is kind of like the average, 10 to 14 days. No, you'd be burning fat, before that, but that's just when you're in ketosis, then your body is definitively using fat as a primary source of energy. Um, when you're actually in ketosis. So, but you'll still be burning fat, just going for it and trying for it. You're welcome. Big thing for adrenal glands that I've been noticing a lot of success with lately is increasing salt intake, especially for females. If you wake up between 2 and 3 a.m. pretty consistently, that's a cortisol issue. That means you are in adrenal fatigue, potentially even adrenal exhaustion. So one easy way to just basically nourish your adrenal glands is to increase your salt intake. So what I usually say is about 2 teaspoons at night, and that would be of sea salt, mineral, like the kind of just real salt from the ocean, not processed salt at all. Celtic sea salt would be another one. Kosher salt is also would fall into that, but you're looking at just like a sea salt basically, or Himalayan salt too. 2 teaspoons of that mixed in with some warm water will be really helpful for the helping your adrenal glands, so you'll start sleeping better, and really actually does help your metabolism too. No, that everybody's going to be a little bit different as far as what their numbers are. I mean, I'm super active. I'm 5 days a week. I'm running my face around just in the office, adjusting patients, plus exercising hardcore on top of that. So the 20 grams of carbs is pretty standard. Protein is going to be varying between 80 and 100. So for me, I'm actually trying to gain. I try to gain some mass, so that's why my protein's quite a bit higher. My fat's way higher too. But that looks about right for you, Miriam. So the second round of juice fasting, it's a good question. It's going to really depend upon the person. If you had it really rough the first time, it might still be kind of rough, although I doubt it'll be not nowhere near as rough. Because by the time that comes around, your insulin's going to be a lot more sensitive. Your body's going to be a lot more efficient metabolically speaking. So, I mean, I've done it. I've done juice that well, in fact, when I did it with you guys, that was actually my second time of doing that. And it was much easier than the first time. Way, way, way easier than the first time. So I'm going to say yes, it's going to be easier. And it really should continue to drive the process of your results. You are welcome. So for sleep, let me just, as we're getting close to bedtime here, let me go over a few quick sleep things. So, of course, the requirements for sleep are going to be a little bit different for everybody. Really the minimum magic number is going to be 6.5 hours. You don't want to really be getting less than that. One thing that helps before you go to bed to get nice sleep is actually taking a cold shower, or at least a cool shower or bath or whatever. That actually will help your sleep. Been a lot of research on that. Filling up with lots of fat at dinner time is going to be helpful, because then you're going to be converting into ketosis, or at least producing ketone bodies, and you'll be burning fat while you sleep. So dinner should be a heavy fat meal as well. Butter, coconut oil, things like that. Magnesium is huge for that. I mean, I usually recommend baseline minimum per day of magnesium. You should be doing about 250 milligrams, but most people honestly need more like 600 to 800 milligrams of magnesium, and you can take that, pretty much right before you go to bed. Absolutely, it helps us sleep. I've talked a lot about magnesium. 50% of you that are watching right now are deficient in magnesium just based on research. So 600 to 800 milligrams is good for that. So vitamin D, having proper vitamin D levels too is another prerequisite for healthy sleep. So again, if you're deficient, you really want to be doing, deficient, you really want to know what your numbers are so you can take it appropriately. For maintenance, you want to do about 1,000 IUs per 25 pounds of body weight. So if you weigh 150 pounds, that would be 6,000 IUs, and that's really just to maintain where your level is at. You're not really going to improve your levels from there, so that's why, again, it's very important to know what your numbers are. And again, but you're taking vitamin D in the morning. There's an app on the phone, on iPhone and Android, called the Sleep Cycle app. It's a pretty good thing to kind of really test and monitor your sleep. And you put it on airplane mode. You put it kind of because obviously you don't want the radiation to be pumping into your brain. You put it on your mattress, and it'll monitor how much you move, and then it also helps you calculate your REM cycle, so you can test the quality of your sleep. And then what you can do is you can set it to wake you up during a window of when you're coming out of your REM sleep, so that way you'll be more refreshed. So I really recommend that app if you really want to know a lot more about your sleep and just kind of pattern. You'll also be able to plug in if you had certain activities during the day and find out where maybe you're throwing your sleep off through the things you're doing throughout the day. Amber light bulbs, so those are some things you can order online. So the screens, the devices that we all use emit what's called blue light. Your TV emits blue light. The lights in your house emit blue light. What that does is that's actually going to drive down melatonin the more you get exposed to that. So that's why watching TV, being on your computer right before you go to bed is really going to disrupt the quality of your sleep. So there are some filters that you can buy, actually clear screen covers you can just put right over the top of your devices. So if you I like to read in bed on my iPad, but I have a clear screen over it that blocks the blue light that it produces, so it's not jacking up my REM cycle from that. So those are some good things to look at. You don't really want to exercise 2 hours before you go to bed too, because that's going to really kind of jack up your sleep as well. I know for a lot of people, they find that it's good to exercise, or that's the only time they feel like they can exercise. Well, just wake up earlier. It's that simple, or find a different time. Yeah, cramps in your feet are going to be low electrolytes, so increasing salt. You could do some lemon in your water throughout the day too. That'll help, and then also magnesium too. Diane would be good for that. All right, well, it's good. Got a lot of good questions on here with 45 minutes that we're on. I hope everybody has a great week. These will be saved, so if you want to go back and review them, a lot of good stuff on this. And if you're just tuning into this now, there's a part 1 that's on my profile page that you can go back and watch too. So everybody have a great night. God bless.